Okay? So on 17.5, we're going to talk about sales projections again, but at this time it's using a different method. It said, in the last section you learned about sales projections. There's also another method to use to project them. It's called the factor method. The factor is the company's present market share. Your company may use federal government publications or other sources to find the total sales projected for the entire market for the upcoming year. And that happened here not too long ago. They projected how much oil we were going to use for the next year. And it was substantially lower than what they originally forecasted. So therefore, that's why we stopped pumping so much out there. Therefore, then our state losing money. Okay? It ain't going to go anywhere. Our oil's still going to be there. But just so that you know, they use that all the time. So the formula that they have for this section looks like this. Projected sales is going to equal your projected market size multiplied by the market share factor. Okay? That's your formula for today. Projected sales is going to equal your projected market size multiplied by your market share factor. So, on number 1, it says the market share factor is 8%. So if I give you that to be 8%, what number do I actually use in the calculator? 0.08. Then it goes on to say the projected market sales for that particular item was $6,300,000. So what's my projected sales if I have 8% of the market? What's 0.08 times 6,300,000? 504,000. Now, why I can foresee some of you getting this wrong is not having a decimal in the right spot and or not having enough zeros in the 6,300,000 number. So then you're going to get a substantially lower amount of number. That's $504,000 that you're projected to sell for whatever it happened to be. Whether it's boxes for my subwoofers by Dennis's Creations. Actually, we'll call it this way. Karchenko's creation. Whatever. You got it. Number 2. The market share factor for this particular problem is 14%. The projected sales is $10,250,000. So, what's the multiplying number that we're going to use? 0.14. Good. Multiplied by 10,250,000. And how much of the market, or how much am I expected to sell? 1,435,000. Now, if you don't move the decimal over 2 spots to make it 0.14 and try to do it times 14, for instance, are you going to be a little bit bigger number? Yeah. Should your number be bigger than the market size? No, it should not. If you get a number that's bigger than the market size, you screwed up. Okay? So keep that in mind. If you maybe only move the decimal over 1 time, your decimal number would be bigger than your multiplying number would be bigger than your market size, and that's not possible. Okay? So be very careful. All right? Then, if you turn the page on 3 through 6, it says the 4 different companies, the projected market sales, and the market share factor for each of them. And it even gives you a little multiplication symbol inside of the chart itself. All you need to do is multiply the 2 numbers. Keep in mind, Derek, how far do you move the decimal point? 2 places. Good. And on 7 through 13, it is asking you to do the same kind of thing, where it's dealing with the words or putting it behind it. Make sure you pull out the right pieces that you need. For example, on number 8, it says quick copy machines, market share is 15%. Estimated market sales for the next year is 9,100,000. What's quick copy sales projections for the next year? So they own or they corner 15% of the market, so that's 0.15, times by 9,100,000. And when I multiply those two numbers together, what do I get? 1,365,000. So if I own quick copy machines, I'm projected to have that much in sales over the next year. As long as I corner 15% of the market, that should be accurate or close to it. Now, what could happen? Okay? Natural disaster, we'll call it, instead of just tornado. But these are all projections. Do you guys understand what projections are? A guess. That's really what they are. Because projections one time could be different from a month later. You know, for instance, the oil stuff that's going on in our state. We had it projected out to where our state was going to have a revenue of like $8-point-some billion. And then all of a sudden a new projection came out like last week and we were only going to have $3.4 billion. That's a lot of money that we're not going to have now. Okay? Granted, $3.4 billion is still a lot of money. But think of that. It was more than double. Okay? So projections are nothing more than a guess as far as what could happen. Could your projections be off? Yeah. What happens if we did have a natural disaster, for instance, like we had a few years ago in our community where we had a flood? The sales projections for Menards went through the roof because of all the rebuilding. They weren't projected to sell that much that year, but they were the best Menards in the country. And probably still are in the top 5. Honestly. Yeah. Just because of the sales that they have at their store. During that year of the flood in 2011, they were the highest grossing Menards in the country by 3 times. So that means if everybody else had 1 million, they made 3 million or whatever, just as an example. That's how and their Menards, that one out there, because at that time, think of it, Dennis, we didn't have Home Depot. All we had we had Menards, we had Muse Lumber, which is a small, local, okay? We didn't really have any lumber yards. So where were, or very small. They weren't ever going to have enough material for everybody that needed stuff. I was at Menards, I think, every day. I don't know how much money I spent there. The one bill I had just alone, the one day, was over $9,000. Myself. Oh yeah, kitchen cabinets and countertops. Mm-hmm. So projections obviously could change if things like that happen, and they will, and they do. Okay. So anyway, what do you think? Pretty easy today? Okay. All right, so just so that you guys are aware of it, we're on page 561 to 562. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When it comes to colleges and universities, they do that all the time. Absolutely. Colleges and universities do it all the time. They project out how far or what their enrollment's going to be, so that way they know how many people to have on staff. For instance, if I don't have enough enrollment for my college class that I teach for Vermont State, I don't teach. So. Or just not do it.